I finally did it. I was able to make my own articulate, custom figure. And here's how I did it. Magnets. I used magnets for all the joints. Well, not all. I needed something for the shoulder, hip, ankle, and wrist. Now, wire seems like the perfect solution. But as you've seen in a previous video, almost all wire will break eventually. So wires such as pipe cleaner won't work. So I decided to use pipe cleaner. You can't beat that range of motion. But it breaks. So I decided to make the pipe cleaner replaceable. Ta-da! And that's not even the best part. Look at the feet. It clamps to the Lego board like a Lego. The funny thing is, I did not design it to do that. But it works so well. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. Look at, oh. But I mean, just look at this. No sticky tack. There is one thing I would change, and that's the hip. There is no hip rotation. I can move back and forth, but I cannot twist. I guess that's going to have to do.
That's not good enough!
I'll be right back. Ta-da! 360-degree rotation. I even saved the old hip joint, just in case. One disadvantage of using magnets for joints is they stick to each other. That can get annoying. Point in case. But overall, I think this figure is a success. I mean, it worked for a 1.5-minute animation so far. And here's a size comparison to a Mega Construx figure. Anyways, let me know what you think.
Ta-da!
I armored him up.
I gave him a sword.
And to tell you the truth, I don't care for it. The feet don't stick as well, the armor is chunky, and the face is stupid. Now, I'm not saying this figure is a complete failure. There's a lot of things that...
Stupid! Failure! A waste of time!
I'll show you a waste of time.
That's no way to treat your maker. I mean, really, I'm hurt.
That's a waste of time.
Perhaps I should reconsider what I do. I'm not sure how many of you noticed, but this guy is not the same as this guy. I updated my figure. Why? Because after animating this fight scene, I learned something very important. This guy is actually trash. Easy fix. Remember when I told you that magnets are the solution to a custom figure? Well, I lied, because all I had to do is get rid of the magnets and then voila. I know some of you have been asking for a tutorial, but I want to master this figure before I do that. Because if I gave you a tutorial on how to make this, I'd probably get some complaints. I also scaled the figure down to the size of a Mega Construx figure. I guess that's all I have to say. So, you want a tutorial?
Me! We'll get to you! No, me now! I thought we already established that you are trash! You're trash! No, you're trash! No, you're trash! 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 You're trash!
Recently, there has been a sizable spike in all of my custom figures videos. And there are countless comments asking for a tutorial on how to create this custom figure. And the reason I haven't made a tutorial yet is because the figure's a pain to animate with. If you try to make this figure yourself and learn that it's actually horrible for stop motion, don't say I didn't warn you. And if the tutorial's bad, just give me a break. It's been 2 years. I barely remember how to make the figure myself, let alone animate him. Well, that's about all I have to say. It's good to be back, and I'm here to stay.
I did it again. I created a better, cooler, more superior custom figure. This figure is very similar to the old Lofty, the biggest difference being the legs. As you can see, I used Lego ball and socket joints. This makes the figure much more stable, making it easier to animate. You might be wondering why I did not use the same method for the arms. Even though these joints are more consistent, I find the range of motion to be more limited. Another difference from the old figure is the way the head connects to the body. Instead of sticking the head directly to the torso with sticky tack, this figure has a Lego joint for the neck. This makes the face animation a lot more consistent. This new figure design is a major improvement over the old one. I can confidently say that because I just animated with it for over 8 hours. The thing that makes this figure so much better is...
Hey! What's the big idea?
I was about to ask you the same question.
That's right, I made another custom figure, and this one is by far the coolest, smoothest, most posable custom figure yet. I also recruited a new voice actor. Well, I mean, technically I am the new voice actor, but not really, with this weird first-person thing. Anyway, this figure is made up almost entirely out of Lego ball and socket joints, which is something I know a lot of you wanted me to try. I haven't tried it in the past, because these joints just don't have the range of motion I want. That is, not unmodified. I cut this groove into the socket piece, along with cutting the corners off the ball piece to achieve a significantly wider range of motion. The biggest drawback to this figure is that it's a lot larger than any of my current characters. It's about the size of a dummy 13. Now I know you're all gonna ask for a tutorial. Again. And to that I say, we'll see. Depends on how well this video does. This figure may be cool, but it's really nothing more than a prototype. For something far more superior. Something that will make all the rest of the custom figures look like trash. Anyways, I'm super happy with how this figure turned out, and I can't wait to see what it can do. And that's about all I got for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you.
Hey! I need your help! Well, I did it. I made a custom figure out of clay. A lot of you wanted me to make a clay figure, but I have a feeling this is not what you meant. This figure is made of cosplay, which is an oven-baked clay known for its flexibility. Not sponsored. As you can tell, I use Lego ball pieces for the joints, but the sockets are just indentions in the clay. And let me tell you, I did not actually think this would work. My original purpose in making this was to create a prototype for a 3D printed model I've been wanting to make. Since I did not know how to 3D model yet, I thought this would be a good place to start. But like I said, I did not expect this figure to actually function. But when I snapped the first joint in place, it actually held its position. Look at that! Just look at that! I couldn't believe it. Now, it wasn't perfect. Half the figure was too loose to animate. But since I now knew it worked, I made more joints that held better. And voila! Here I am. Another novel thing about this figure is the facial animation. Instead of having an individual face for every expression, this figure's face is made up of individual parts that magnetically connect to the head. This way, I can make literally thousands of expressions with only a handful of parts. I absolutely love this figure. It's so smooth to animate and it looks awesome. Now, I'm not sure how long it's gonna hold up. I can already feel the elbow getting a little loose. Because again, this was never supposed to be a functioning figure. But for now, I'm happy to join the crew.
Not if I do first.
What?
Well. You thought that clay doofus was the superior model. But nope. Turns out, there's a figure much more superior than him. And you're looking at it! This figure has a very similar joint structure as the clay bozo, except it uses more reliable Lego ball and socket joints. A lot of you thought this figure was 3D printed, but a lot of you are wrong. This figure is almost completely made up of this one Lego piece, delicately mutilated and glued together in different combinations. The great thing about these joints is, even though the elbows and knees only have one ball and socket, the socket is connected at such an angle that the arms and legs can bend almost all the way in, like an actual arm or leg. So it goes without saying that this figure has the widest range of motion yet. Just check out these poses! The face is also similar to the clay kerfuffle. It's made up of two parts that magnetically connect to the head. However, the advantage of this design is the mouth is double-sided. This means instead of replacing the mouth every other picture to make the character talk, all I have to do is flip the mouth around, which is by far the easiest method of animating dialogue yet. This also means I literally talk out of both sides of my mouth, except I don't talk out of both sides of my mouth. The only thing is, this line going through the face looks kinda sub, but no one cares about that, right? Okay, I can already hear you crying for a tutorial. And you're in luck, because this time, I plan on making an in-depth tutorial on how to make this figure. At some point. Unless I'm lying. A lot of you commented in the last video saying that I'm evil. But who says I'm evil? Besides you guys, in the comments. Is it because of my eyes? Because that's eyeism, and I don't like it! Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some business to attend to.
You've already been outdated, bro.
Hey, that's not fair! I'm gonna break you into 1,000 pieces and rebuild you with a Duplo brick! And oh, when I get done with you, you'll be
Sorry about my bro's little tantrum. He does that. Now, introducing the newest and coolest custom figure yet. It's actually pretty similar to my bro right here. The body is basically exactly the same, with a few minor improvements. Like I redesigned the shoulders to be more compact. I cut off all the studs to make the joints look cleaner, and I used paper instead of cardboard to hold it all together. The real notable difference is the head. It uses the same double expression piece design, but the difference is the magnets are on their side, which makes the face thinner, makes the pieces connect better, and allows the eyes to be double-sided just like the mouth. The other cool thing about the head is I designed the hair to be detachable. This means I can make interchangeable hair pieces. Now, a lot of you noticed this socket on the back of these figures, and were wondering what they were for. Well, its main purpose is to connect a rig to the figure. This will help me animate characters to do things like jump or even fly. The other thing it can be used for is holding accessories. And since it is a ball and socket joint, whatever you put on there can actually have a little bit of animation to it, which is awesome. And also, kind of a happy accident. Now you already know you're getting a tutorial from my bro right here, which is basically going to double up as a tutorial for this figure. You okay, bro? Didn't mean to hit you so hard.
Oh, shut up!
So, when do you think we're gonna see that 3D printed figure I've heard so much about?
It might be a while.
Introducing the world's smallest articulate action figure. Yeah! I have no idea why I made this. Normally when I make this kind of video, I'm talking about the improvements I made to the figure. And recording my journey of making the ultimate custom action figure for stop-motion animation of all time. But this video doesn't really fall into that category. It's literally just a tiny version of the OG Lofty. And it's not even Squirt Lofty. I painfully made the functioning torso of the original Lofty design. And believe me, this was a nightmare to make, let alone animate. And don't even get me started on the faces. I always thought the original Lofty face was too tiny to draw on. And these faces? Let's not even go there. Okay, to show you just how small this figure is, here's a size comparison to every custom figure I've made so far. About this being the world's smallest action figure. Look it up! The world's smallest action figure is around 1¼ inch. This figure is 1 inch. That makes this figure literally world record breaking! Just don't think about the fact that no one cares about this world record. I broke it? That's cool. I'm not wrong about this. Probably. Oh, look! Permanent companionship.
Man, this voidish plane is very plain.
Greetings!
Who are you supposed to be?
Glad you asked. I'm the world's smallest action figure.
Oh, I'm Clofty.
Clofty? I liked Clayton.
Well, it's Clofty.
I guess if it was going to be Clayton for the clay pun, why not just call you Clay?
Because my name's Clofty?
Guess we're going to have to make all three work. Onwards, Clayton Ofty! Together, we shall find others and stuff! Yeah!
Whatever you say, tiny dude.
Look! We already found somebody! Go say hi!
It's finally tutorial time!
Yup, a tutorial for me.
Hey, no! The tutorial was going to be for me the whole time!
Yeah, until you got outdated by me.
We are literally twins except for the face design!
So, you can pretend my tutorial is about you.
It is about me!
Yes, it is about you.
Ah!
Actually, the tutorial is not about either of you.
Well then, who's it about?
Me. It's about me.
What?
Evasive maneuver! So, as promised, this is a tutorial on my craft prototype 3D printed model. Even though a lot of you clearly don't need it because you're flawlessly recreating characters without the tutorial. And a few of you even beat me to the Lofty armor. Like, how is that possible? I didn't even tell anyone I was gonna do that. Just get out of here. You clearly don't need the tutorial. I don't know why you're hanging around. Alright, I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and I can't wait to see what you guys make with it.
Hey there.
Yeah! Who the heck are you?
I'm Clofty. I was just wondering, when am I gonna get a tutorial? Because, I'm also a prototype 3D printed figure. I think it'd be really cool if I have one, and...
Evasive maneuver!
Boy, what a jerk!
But aren't you, a tiny version of him, though?
Evasive maneuver!
Behold, the first ever 3D printed Lofty. Now before you get too excited, this is not the ultimate custom 3D printed figure that I've been hyping up for so long. This is strictly a 3D printed copy of the original Lofty. In fact, it does such a good job mimicking the OG's design that it has all the same problems, making this figure still a pain to animate. This is the first thing I've ever modeled in Blender. Well, actually, technically this was, and then more recently I corrected it to this, and then this. Ever since I got a 3D printer, it has slowed production down a little bit, because I've been having to learn Blender, and I've been having to learn how to use a 3D printer, which, as you can imagine, takes a lot of time. But just you wait until you see what I'm capable of with a 3D printer. With it in my possession, my power will be unlimited! Anyway, as far as this figure is concerned, I'll be releasing the file on MakerWorld for free. While this figure has its issues, it's still pretty cool to have an exact duplicate of Lofty. A stronger, more superior version, that is. I'd even say that... What the heck is this? What do you mean? I just explained what the heck this is. Well, try to explain it with a fist in your eye. Well, try to put a fist in my eye with a fist in your eye. That's not a fist! Still alive! Behold, my very first 3D print ever. Considering I've never touched a 3D printer and have barely touched a 3D modeling software, I cannot believe how good this first print turned out. Now, I had a bit of a head start making this. I stole the hands and feet from the Dummy 13 model, along with the baseball and socket joints. This figure was meant to mimic the skeleton I used to create these figures. And since I was really happy with how it turned out, I was ready to move on to Mark II. Alright, this is only the second model and it's already looking really good. This uses basically the same skeleton but with slightly beefed up joints and a more detailed torso. I also designed my own feet as opposed to using the Dummy 13 ones. There is one change I made to the base frame and that's this joint right here. With the Mark I, the sockets pointed upwards. But because of this, the arms couldn't really come all the way up next to the body. So I put the socket on its side, which immediately fixed the issue. Not only did this change improve the articulation, but it also made the joints look cleaner by hiding the ball joint. Now that I was really happy with the base design, I started to clean the model up.
Which brings us to Mark III. Now there is one major design change with this figure. With the Mark II, I was not happy that the shoulders could not come up very high. So with this figure, I angled the shoulder socket slightly upwards. This made the arm articulation feel a lot better. But I really did not like the way the torso looked. Because these sockets are so open, this figure has an insane range of motion. But that comes with the trade-off of these joints looking super exposed and not very natural. So, my goal is to find the right balance between looking good and maintaining a wide range of articulation. So since I liked the way that the Mark II torso looked, I decided to put that on this figure while maintaining the updated shoulder design, which was way more difficult than I thought it would be. But now we're getting somewhere. I finally reached a torso design that I was really happy with. So now I was ready to start adding detail to the limbs. Okay, this was the first time that I tried to make the limbs look more natural. I was a little nervous about this part because I was still very new to 3D modeling. And up until this point, I've been working with pretty basic shapes. But I managed to come to a more natural design that I was pretty happy with only minor non-manifold and intersecting geometry issues. I also added more detail to the feet. One thing that was really bothering me was how his limbs were kind of misaligned. I also didn't like how this rounded hip piece contrasted with the rest of the figure. Both problems that I solved with this figure. While it looks virtually the same, there's one pretty major change that dramatically improved the articulation and the look. And that was the realization that I could actually move the ball to the top of the upper arm leg as opposed to having it in the center. This allowed the joints to bend to a degree typically only achievable using a double joint, at the same time making the limbs perfectly aligned. At this point, I was really happy with the design. So I decided to print my first ever Loftio's character. The Underpaid Assistant. Now, being able to see the figure as an actual character shed a new light on the way it looked. And it didn't look as good as I thought. While I was pretty happy with it, something looked off to me. And I decided it was that the torso looked a little too small in proportion to the legs. So I printed another version where I stretched the color of the torso to the hip, and that looked worse. So after a lot of studying and redesigning, I came up with a design that looked much better. I flattened the hip, hollowed it out a little, and stretched the torso to fill that gap. Yeah, now this figure is virtually perfect! Except there were two issues that were causing a lot of problems that I was avoiding up until this point. And that's supports and printing orientation. Because these parts have some floating regions, I have to use supports which leave ugly marks on the print. Additionally, I learned that printing orientation has a lot to do with determining the strength of the part. In short, parts printed in this orientation resulted in a strong socket and a weak ball that constantly snaps off, and vice versa if printed in this orientation. While this figure looks exactly the same, I made one major change that completely solved these issues. And all I did was separate the ball from the joint. This way I can print both in their strongest orientation. Additionally, I no longer have to use supports for the limbs. And this made coloring the ball significantly easier when it came to multicolored joints. Now, there is actually two changes I made to the base frame. I increased the size of the hip joint because it needed to be stronger in order to hold up the entire upper half. And I did the same thing to the neck because I needed it to be stronger in order to hold the face. I used the same magnetic face design I used to create this figure, which was by far the best design yet. I also ended up adding magnets to the feet. I never tried this before because I assumed the magnets would not be strong enough to hold up the whole figure. But boy was I wrong! No sticky tack! I also finally got around to designing my own hands, ones that are completely original and look better on this figure. And for one final change, I slimmed down the torso a little bit to give it a more neutral look. And with that, the figure is finally complete. All that's left now is to reskin it. Guys, I cannot tell you how happy I am with this figure. It turned out better than I ever imagined. But this is not the end. With the base model finally complete, I can make all sorts of characters. Like Lofty! You're about to get so lofty! And the Underpaid Assistant. And that's only the beginning. I have a near infinite list of characters I want to turn into Loftyo figures. It's just a matter of getting some people to check
their freaking email!
This figure is by far the easiest figure to animate with that I have ever used, which was the original goal of the project. I really feel like this figure design has so much potential, and I have huge plans for it. Just you wait.
Does this mean we're taking over?
No.
Oh, come on! We're so much better than those cardboard pieces of craft. They fall apart when you
Yeah,
freaking look
hey,
at
I'm
them.
pretty sure we've already done this whole bit, okay? And it didn't end well for the last guy. So, like, let's not do that, okay?
Loftios forever!
Okay. We need to release the files. Everyone's asking for it.
No! We spent too much time on this figure to just throw the files out there for free.
But I want the community to have it.
You'll lose control. People are gonna steal it.
No one's gonna remember that you were the original creator.
Do you remember what happened to the dummy
What about all the
13?
cool things that people could make
Everyone's
with the
gonna
figure?
be reselling
It'll
it,
show
and you
up all
won't
over
think of all the
This
money
will become
crap.
very
Everyone's
cool.
gonna
If we
be
try to
ever
sell the figure,
don't
who's
believe
gonna
the
buy
thing.
it?
The files out there.
This is gonna be the So, I have officially decided to release the printing files for my base Loftio figure for free. This was a really hard decision to make. But at the end of the day, I love seeing all the incredible things you guys have made using my designs. And I cannot wait to see what you guys do with the Loftio figure.
Hey!
We're in. Are you good? We could come back later if now's not a good time. Okay.
Hello? I thought I was gonna be relevant or something. Ugh.